all the time.
We are family.
Max Scherzer, double-digit Ks.
We're busting ours to kick yours.
Fun to watch.
Minus 15.
Respect all, fear none.
Into the upper deck.
Intensity is not a curfew.
Oh, mercy.
5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Welcome into MASN All Access from the MASN Newsroom. I'm your host, Paul Mancano. Somehow we managed it. We got through the weirdest 60-game season you will ever see. Hopefully it is the weirdest we will ever see in our lifetimes. I've aged like a president finishing up his final term, but we got there. We are done the 2020 season, and it was a wild ride. Yes, the Orioles did finish below 500, but they were in the postseason race much longer than expected. They gave us numerous thrilling wins, and they debuted several promising and exciting rookies. Here are the final standings for the AL East. Tampa Bay clinched the division. They win the AL East for the first time in a decade. The Yankees finished a full 7 games behind them, but both New York and Toronto booked tickets to the postseason. The O's finished 25 and 35. That's 1 game better than the last place Boston Red Sox. Well, in his season-ending press conference, Mike Elias said no season in which the team finishes below 500 can be considered a successful one. But, like the fans who watched along all season, Elias saw plenty of evidence that this team is headed in the right direction.
I think we had a lot of improvements in some particular players, particular areas. There's others where we didn't, and we're still working on it. But seeing most of the members of the team last year, Anthony Santander comes to mind, and Severino, and these guys on the whole take steps forward, was huge. Seeing the new members of the team take steps forward were huge. And I think the biggest goal that we're all happy with is, with 1 day left here, nobody got sick. This is a young team. It's getting better. It's fighting. They are working like crazy under the most extreme circumstances to keep improving and battling. And, even when we lose, even a game like last night, which was a bad game from the beginning, you look up at the end of the game and the guys are playing hard and swinging the bat and putting some runs on the board. And really, I think that was the case all year with few exceptions. So that's just a credit to everybody in uniform. And I think I hope it's going to be a part of who we are going forward.
One of the bright spots for Mike Elias and company, most valuable Oriole Anthony Santander. Look at his final stats for the season. Granted, just 37 games, but in those 37 games, he was the engine behind the Orioles offense. A .261 average, 11 homers, 32 RBIs, an OPS close to 900, and quality defensive play in the outfield. An oblique strain kept him from a full season. But MVO is quite the accomplishment, and it's one that Anthony Santander won't forget.
It's amazing to be here and to really know the results that I've been getting. After so much work, after so many sacrifice, it's been all worth it. It's all thanks to the opportunity and hard work.
The season was also partly defined by the players sent out of the organization via trade and the returns the O's got on those players. All told, the O's traded 5 players and received 9 in return, including 3 that immediately slotted into the Orioles' top 30 prospect list, according to MLB Pipeline. Those moves bolstered a farm system that is already paying off at the major league level. Ryan Mountcastle, the O's 5th-ranked prospect, was called up late in August and has put up some really impressive numbers so far in his 2020 campaign. Brendan Mortensen broke down just how impressive those numbers were for the rookie.
Oh, that's hit well. He's got 2 today. It's a beautiful afternoon to have 2, right?
Simply put, Ryan Mountcastle's rookie year has been really good. Now, when 2020 started, the 23-year-old was no more than a promising prospect. But as the year winds down, Mountcastle has cemented himself as a key piece in the Orioles' rebuild.
Mountcastle has been so good at the plate that he's already a mainstay in the middle of the Orioles lineup. Now, you might be wondering whether the rookie's success at the dish is the result of a shortened season or a sign of things to come. Take a look at his minor league stats. It's not a fluke. Mountcastle has been consistently excellent swinging the bat ever since he was drafted 36th overall by the O's back in 2015. And to top that off, his batting average, OPS, and walk percentage are all the highest of his baseball career, and they're coming at the highest level of play. The rookie might just be the best combination of average and power that the Orioles have. Now, unfortunately, Mountcastle probably doesn't have enough games played to have a shot at the Rookie of the Year. But even in fewer games, the 23-year-old has still put up competitive numbers compared to the American League's best rookies and could find himself near the top of the voting list, even if it's not number one.
2 on, and the lead cut to 3-2.
What a nice piece of hit. You talk about in it.
Now, interestingly enough, the Orioles aren't unfamiliar with a first base outfield combination, middle of the lineup hitting Rookie of the Year candidate. Back in 2017, Trey Mancini filled that role and had himself quite an impressive rookie season, finishing 3rd in Rookie of the Year voting. And at 2 years younger, Mountcastle's numbers are even more promising.
Now, if all goes to plan in 2021, we could see both Mancini and Mountcastle right in the middle of the Orioles lineup.
Mountcastle was one of 5 O's rookies to debut in 2020. Keegan Aiken was the first back on August 14th, then Ramon Urias, who's had a strong finish to the season. Mountcastle debuted the following day, then 2 pitchers, both of whom were with AAA Norfolk last year, Dean Kramer and the local guy, Bruce Zimmerman. Some eye-opening performances from all 5 of those guys listed. Well, it's been a challenging season for the players, the coaches, and team employees who have made sacrifices along the way to make sure that this season got played. Now they get to go home, and manager Brandon Hyde is certainly looking forward to it.
I'm going home tomorrow, and then I'll be talking to Mike every day, probably 2 or 3 times a day, for the rest of the off season. So I'm sure I'll be traveling back into Baltimore some. I'll be going to Sarasota. But yeah, I'm going home tomorrow, and it's been I've only seen my family for a couple days since we started summer camp. So looking forward to going home and taking the kids to school. Just being home, taking the kids to school, picking them up, having family dinners, watching activities. He's still in fall, Colton's in fall baseball right now, doing hockey also, playing football. So just looking forward to being around and taking my daughter to horseback riding, etc.
There's plenty of baseball yet to be played, of course, granted not in Baltimore, but the postseason begins on Tuesday. And look ahead to some of the off-season dates coming up as well. The first ever wild card series begins on Tuesday. It's a best-of-3 series that'll be played in the higher seeds home ballparks. Flash forward to the World Series. That'll be played at Globe Life Field in Arlington, Texas. Then 5 days after the final game of the World Series is when free agency begins, so it'll be as early as October 29th or as late as November 3rd. Winter meetings are supposed to be December 6th through 10th in Dallas, Texas, though that's likely to be either canceled or turned into some kind of virtual event. Then before you know it, pitchers and catchers report to Sarasota on February 16th, and opening day is April 1st, 2021 at Fenway Park. Of course, don't forget about the MASN All Access podcast. We are not stopping our MASN All Access shows or podcasts throughout the offseason. Brendan Mortensen and I are your 2 hosts. You can catch the MASN All Access podcast on Spotify, SoundCloud, Apple Podcasts, Google Podcasts. Watch it on the MASN Orioles YouTube channel. Watch it on the MASN All Access Facebook page. Anywhere you get your podcasts, you get the MASN All Access podcast. That just about does it for our final show of the regular season, but like I said, we are not going anywhere. We will keep you up to date throughout the offseason on all of our social channels, and MASN All Access will be running with podcasts and shows throughout the offseason up until Pitchers and Catchers Report in February. Before we get out of here, I want to say thank you to Bobby Blanco, Brendan Mortensen, and Hannah Broder, and of course Drexel Wright and Spiro Alafasos, as always, for your hard work and dedication behind the scenes. I'm Paul Mancano. Thanks to you for following along all season. Couldn't have done it without you.